right, let's say hi to the peoples. Howdy. Hello. Man, my coffee is already losing its luster. Ooh, that's pretty tasty. I blow dried my hair for the first time in a long time. It's crazy. It's very long. I also got this shirt from Marshall's. Look how cute. It says all my hexes live in Texas. I only saw one of these, so I felt very lucky to have snagged it. This video, specifically, we are going to be focusing on fall reads. My fall reads. Books I'm anticipating trying to fit in this fall. I've got to pull up, I've got a couple audiobooks, I've got a couple digital copies, and then we also have stuff on my bookshelf. And my camera is about to die. So we will switch over to the iPhone. We'll switch over to the phone and come back to chat about this, okay? Hello again. We're back with our phone. I have to say, the selfie lighting, I don't know how I feel about it. It's making me a little like, that's better. That warmed it up a little bit. Oh, get it, pumpkins. Get it. Okay, so whilst I made the switch here, I figured I would go ahead and gather myself so we could talk through the books. Pumpkin is having some fun on the floor. Oh yes, so I went ahead and pulled all the books that I plan on reading. So, like I mentioned, this is going to be not a fall TBR, but like fall cozy books that I'm kind of putting on my radar to read. Most of them are going to be cozy fantasy, romance, different things like that. Basically because it's the season, and then I just think it'll also be a little more tangible for me to read those kind of books. I didn't put a lot of like not hard fantasy. I didn't put a lot more of like my traditional fantasies or dark fantasies or dark academia books on there, just because I don't know if I'm going to have the mental capacity to read them. And so I don't want to set myself up for failure. But I am still working on my D&D romance reading vlog, which I was hoping to be finished by today, but we're not. I still have one more book that I need to finish, and rather than trying to rush through reading it, I decided to just go ahead and make this quick little video for y'all so we could talk through some books, maybe get some ideas for you. But without further ado, we've got quite a few books on this list, so we'll go through them. I don't know if I actually have any rhyme or reason of how we're going to go through these books. But let's just enjoy the ride, shall we? So first book on my list, I think I saw it because I had it on my Kindle, but I have a physical copy, so I figured I'd grab this adorable little physical copy that I got from Half Price Books last year when I was reading all of Jane Austen's works. And this is a tiny, cutesy little copy of Northanger Abbey, which is actually the first book that Jane Austen wrote, but not the first novel that she published. It is a Gothic satire. So at the time, like Gothic novels were very popular, and so she's satirizing it. So we're following Catherine, who is really into like Gothic stories, and she goes to Bath and ends up making friends with this girl, and her brother Henry ends up going to their house after Bath, and it's got like the Gothic elements, but it's very Jane Austen. It's very cute, but I thought it would be fun to reread this. Ooh, we lost a little bit of the spine there, but I thought it would be fun to go ahead and reread this. I really liked Northanger Abbey. I had a lot of fun with it. I love the male lead. I love Henry. He's definitely one of my favorite Austen characters. He's funny. He is very tongue-in-cheek, and paired with Catherine, who's like a very earnest person, it's a cute romance. And it's just a fun story, and I think it'll be perfect for this time of year. Also very short, as you can see. Like, this tiny one is only 230-ish pages. And I also have it on my Kindle, so I can use it on my Kindle too. But again, I just think this book is so cute. So this is Northanger Abbey. I definitely have been wanting to reread an Austen book because it is the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth. So they've been doing a lot of different things for that. Speaking of which, I probably should add this to the list. So I think I showed this book in a book haul, but I know I've mentioned it as well. So the Jane Austen House has been doing a podcast for each month this year, and they do have a corresponding book. You can just listen to the podcast and it has all this information, but I think like I'll probably re-listen to it kind of like an audiobook along with this to catch up, and I think that will be really cute. There's like recipes, and there are just like letters from Jane and different things. It's so cute. I really enjoyed this, the podcast, and so I'm excited to have the book. So I do want to catch up, so maybe I will do that this fall to catch up with the book so I can finish out the year. But this is such a cute thing that they've done for this. Okay, keeping up with our books we actually physically own, I do want to read the next book in T. Kingfisher's short series. I forget what they call this series, but this is the follow-up novella to What Moves the Dead, and it's with Feast at Night. And we follow our same character here, whose name is Alex Easton. We follow Alex back to their hometown, and there is something mysterious going on that they have to solve. So it kind of follows the first one in solving like something weird that's going on. I know the third one I think just came out, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this was supposed to be on my full moon readathon or summerween TBR, or maybe both, and didn't get it to it either time. So it is a short one, so I'm hoping that I can read this sometime in the fall. I swear, every time I start chatting with y'all, I start to sound phlegmy. Gross. Okay, so next one, I've been saving this one. Speaking of Jane Austen, I picked this up when I went to my Jane Austen experience in Vermont back in October of last year. Was a super great time. If you want to check out the video, I'll also link that down below. It was so much fun. I know she's been doing some this year. You know, you can still catch it if you're in that area and want to have a little Jane Austen experience. But I did pick up 2 books while I was in Vermont. Stowe is like the closest like little town to the bed and breakfast that hosts the Jane Austen experience weekends. And so the first one I could not resist. So this is by Andrew Schaefer. It's called Feel the Bern, a Bernie Sanders mystery. For this one, yeah, basically we have Crash is the name of this character here. And she's basically the liaison while Bernie Sanders is visiting Eagle Creek. And there is a murder that happens, and Bernie decides to try to solve it because apparently he loves mysteries. And so she gets like dragged into this, and it seems like it has like a lot of features of Vermont. And so it just sounded so silly. I love that I had like the mittens and everything like that. It just sounded really, really silly. And so I picked it up, and it's got like the fall leaves and everything. So I've been holding off on reading this book until the fall season. So here it is. I hope it is as funny and ridiculous as it seems. And I do think they have, yeah, he has some recipes in the back, fall recipes. So, you know, there we are as well, which is really fun. The other book I picked up from a local bookstore in Stowe, Vermont I've got, see, I've got my little card here. And then this is an autographed copy as well. And it came with like a little bookmark. So this is Haunt Your Heart Out by Amber Roberts. A little bit of a spookier one. And so we have Lex, who is from Vermont. She's been working at this bookstore for a long time, and I guess like a lot of her close family and friends have moved out of this smaller town and looks for more opportunities. So she gets an opportunity to buy out the bookstore from the owner. And at the same time, this man, James, comes here. He is a paranormal investigator, and I guess the bookstore is haunted, and so they're trying to investigate these ghost stories. But lo and behold, those are from a blog that Lex had written like a decade prior, and she doesn't want to lose her chance at the bookstore, so she tries to like skew the data and help prove these ghost stories. But I guess there is more to what's going on James' side, and obviously romance ensues. And so that is kind of the synopsis of this. I'm a little concerned because I did see like the reviews weren't great on this, but I couldn't help myself. It's a local author, it takes place in Vermont, and I felt like I had to pick it up, so I've been holding out on this for the fall as well. So we have Tea with the Minotaur. I think I talked about this in my Our Fantasy Bingo, so I do think this will go towards that. But we follow a Minotaur who basically doesn't really fit in with his clan and kind of messes things up for them. And so he ends up like with a dragon and I don't know, this tiny owl and a bunch of different things, and kind of has a found family. And he wants to just really learn about tea and share his love of tea and things like that. It sounds very cute. I got this in my Caffeine and Legends advent calendar last year, and so I don't know. Color-wise, it looks very fall. Seems cozy, so we're gonna try to read this. I think it'll be a cute little time. Has been on 1,000 lists, but I'm gonna put it back on a list. Is Bookshops and Bonedust. It is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, following Viv, where she has to take a rest and ends up in this bookstore with this bookstore owner who's like recommending her books and things like that. That's pretty much what I know about it. I have been putting, I don't know, I keep like putting off reading it. Don't know why, but I do. So putting it on this list, I feel like it's another cozy fantasy. I hear it's got a little more, sorry. Come back over here. Thanks. I hear it's a little bit more plot heavy than Legends and Lattes, which is fine with me. And then the other cozy fantasy I'm pulling from my shelf that I do want to read and I've had for a bit is The Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. I know one of the companion novels that's in this world is coming out, The Greenhouse or something like that, or has just come out, but I still need to read The Spellshop. And this one, from what I remember of the synopsis, is our main character basically like opens like an underground spell shop, and then there's like a cute little romance going on in this town as she's kind of building that. And that's really all I think I need to know. And I know that it's cozy and it's cute. It doesn't really look fall, but it's a cozy fantasy. So I feel like coziness is what we associate with fall going into winter. So she's on here. So that's the physical books that we have. We've got quite a few digital, which is helpful for me. I find it a lot easier to read in bed with my Kindle. So the first one is A Harvest of Hearts by Andrea Ems. And the little blurb here is, in the beloved tradition of Howl's Moving Castle and The House in the Cerulean Sea, two books that I have not read. A whimsical and unforgettable cozy fantasy about adventure, common sense, and the power of love as a cheeky butcher's daughter, a befuddling handsome sorcerer, and his clever talking cat unlock magical secrets in the dark heart of their kingdom. So, and this is blurbed by Sarah Beth Durst. So look at that. Didn't even plan that, but there it is. So I want to read that one. We got a talking cat. I feel like that's perfect for the autumnal season. So we have that one. I have a follow-up book. We'll see if I read it. And this is Two Twisted Crowns, which is the follow-up to One Dark Window, which I would say is probably a book that was a bigger disappointment for me, even though I gave it 4 stars. I wanted a lot more. I expected a lot more just from like the reviews and recommendations I got for that book. But I found our main character to be so unbearable and clueless the entire time that it drove me crazy. But I don't want to give too much away about the storyline for this, because if you haven't read One Dark Window and you're interested in it, I don't want to ruin any of the surprises, even though I think the only person who was surprised in this book by the reveal was the main character. Literally, the reveal was shoved down our throats in One Dark Window. And I hated it. I hated it. Like, I don't mind a little bit of hints and when you're like, oh, maybe this is it. But like, it was so obvious. Should have known. The main character should have known. It was unacceptable. Unacceptable. But we won't go down that. I have a whole rant from what I think I did a recap on whenever I read that book. So we won't do that again. The next book I think I mentioned here is another T. Kingfisher. And this is Nettle and Bone, which is a like dark, it's like a short fantasy adventure about a sister who basically decides she's going to save her sister because nobody else seems to. And so she decides that she's going to take matters into her own hands. And it just, I don't know. It's a fairy, like, T. Kingfisher's really good at like balancing like fantasy and also kind of having like that horror elements. And I just feel like it will be a good fall book. So I'm adding that to my list. I do think urban fantasies fit really well into the fall vibes because they're usually a little bit darker, a little bit gloomier, and I just feel like they generally have all of the monsters that we see in some of the horror books and things like that. So I feel like they're usually a good blend. Not as cozy as other fantasies, but I do feel like they fit that for me. So I am going to be adding 2 follow-ups and 2 urban fantasy series that I picked up. So the first one is the second book in the Dr. Greta Helsing series, which I read for the Full Moon Readathon. I read A Strange Practice. So this is a follow-up to that. It's called Dreadful Company. I enjoyed this one. It follows, well, I like enjoyed the series, I think, or I enjoyed the first one. I think I gave it like a 3.5. The kind of third person omniscient was a little strange. I've not read that in like a urban fantasy before, but it follows Greta Helsing, who runs like a doctor's practice for all the ghouls and ghoulies that go bump in the night. And it's a super cute story. I'm so stuffy. I don't know why. So in the first book, we're kind of introduced to Greta and some of her companions who she's worked with the practice, but no longer. And in this book, she goes to Paris for a conference, and there's apparently a coven of vampires running amok. So it seems, to me, like, I feel like that seems kind of spooky season, kind of fall season. And so I figured I'd continue on with the urban fantasies. I think it's harder to find urban fantasies. I feel like they've kind of fallen out of favor for a lot of people, but I kind of grew up on urban fantasy. So it is exciting to find new ones to occupy my time, especially because I am all caught up on the Dresden Files and am waiting patiently for the next one to come out. So I think this will be a good addition. This one I picked up randomly. It came out in June. And it is called Loving a Vampire's Total Chaos, a paranormal dark rom-com by Aura Hayes. And essentially, from what I understand, is we're following a detective who is trying to solve these gruesome murders and finds out that the person who's doing it is a vampire. And I think they fall in love, but there's also like something more going on than just the vampire killing people. And it just seems silly and fun. And so I thought it would be a good book to throw onto here. Like I mentioned, I am planning on doing a vampire vlog. So I don't know if I will include this in the vampire vlog or not. I haven't decided. But it just seems super silly. Like, I think this cover seems cute and fun. So I'm excited to see whether or not this is as silly as it sounds. I literally just picked it up. It looks like there's another one to be coming too. So like a companion kind of novel that's called Loving a Witch is Totally Foolish. So these just seem silly and fun, and I'm here for it. The next book I may or may not try to go ahead and read here in the fall and finish out the trilogy is the third installment in the House Witch. So I read the first two. I enjoyed the second one more than I did the first. So I'm hoping I'll like how the third one wraps everything out. These are pretty long. I do have, I may try to get the audiobook again because I did enjoy the audiobook a lot. So we'll see. But I can't really tell you anything about it because like I mentioned, this is like installments too. It's not even like a sequel or a trilogy. Like these books literally pick up one after the other. So it's just like a continuing story. So this continues to follow Finlay Ash Owen, who is a house witch who's working in this castle, and like follows all the characters in there, including the king, the queen, and the prince, and there's like nobles, and it's very interesting and silly, and I've been having a good time with it. It does have like a coziness to it, although things are getting a little more intense. So we'll see, but I wanted to throw it on there because I do want to finish this out. Be nice to finish it this year. So I actually have a YA kind of middle grade book on here that I've just had sitting on my e-reader for a while. And that is The Night Raven, which is the first in the Moonwind mystery book series. I don't read a lot of middle grade, but it just seemed cute. It's definitely kind of maybe even a little bit more wintry than it is fall. But so we follow Mika. She's an orphan. Clearly she's got some skills and is looking for opportunities, and there is this serial killer called the Night Raven, and we have a detective who recruits her in, I'm sure, what is a silly fashion, and she decides to take him up on it, even though it's kind of dangerous because, you know, she's looking at the prospects of what her life will be like once she gets older. And I guess, like, you know, maybe they form a cute bond, maybe he adopts her, I don't know, it could be cute. So I am excited to pick it up and see. It's, you know, a middle grade may be a great option for me for reading. It's short, and I also think I have an audiobook for it as well. So I don't know, I'm excited to check it out. Like I said, I don't read a lot of middle grade, but I'm not opposed to a middle grade if it sounds interesting, and this one just seems like cute and cozy and, you know, got a little mystery to it. So we'll see how it goes. The next book is the only book with a witch in it. Well, I guess the Spellshop. But this is the second book in the Graves Glen series by Erin Sterling. I've already read the X-Hex and the Wedding Witch. Yeah, so I've already read the X-Hex and the Wedding Witch, because I read the Wedding Witch first, which is actually the third book in this companion series, and then I recently read the X-Hex and had a good time with that. So I figured I'd go ahead and round out my little companion series here with the middle book, and that is the Kiss Curse. And it follows Gwen, who is the cousin of our main character from the first book, and she ends up essentially in a competition with the eldest Penhallow brother, Wells, and basically they're like competing shops, like spell shop, witchy kind of shops during the Halloween season. But then they have to come together because there is a new coven and they are apparently going after Gwen's magic. And so they must work together to see what's going on and help Gwen not lose her magic. And so that's kind of the premise of the story. So we shall see. I liked both of the other books, so I'm hoping I'll like this second one as well. So the next book I have here, I've had sitting in my e-reader shelf as well for quite a time, and that is The Keeper of Enchanted Rooms. Essentially, we have a writer named Merritt inherits this house that has been uninhabited for a long time, decides to make it his home, and kind of learns that it's enchanted, and then brings in Hulda Larkin from the Boston Institute of Keeping of Enchanted Rooms. And she basically goes there to help Merritt, make this house his ally. And they, end up working together, and I'm sure there's a romance that ensues. It looks like this is the first book out of a series of 4. So, and they're not companion novels. So it continues to follow our characters of Merritt and Hulda. So interesting. We'll see if I like this first one before I continue on with the others, but it's been sitting there for a hot minute. So we're going to throw this one on here. I do have the audiobook of it, so it'll be a nice listen. It seems cute, and I'm excited for it. The next one just came out, and I went ahead and snagged it. I've been reading through this series. I like to call it like a spicier Hallmark type of book. And that is the next book in the Dream Harbor series. So this is the 5th one in the series, called the Gingerbread Bakery by Lori Gilmore. And this one follows characters we were introduced to in the very first book, which is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which you've probably seen everywhere. And this one follows Annie and Mac, enemies to lovers. Like I said, they've been hinting at these characters since the very first book, and we are finally here to read about them. Thought this was going to be the last one. Apparently there's going to be a 6th one that comes out. Don't know who those characters are going to be. These books have been like 3.5 for me. Kind of, they are what they are. And that's what I'm expecting from this one too. And then the last book on my list, which I might possibly pick up today. There's a author event going on at my Barnes & Noble. Is called A Hexcellent Chance to Fall in Love by Anne Rose, and it's pitched as like a slightly spooky paranormal romance with 2 women. So they're trying to break a curse and possibly will fall in love. So I don't know, kind of sounds cute. We'll see if I can make it down there today or not. But if I do, probably will get it and can add it in. I think it'll be a cute little fall read. But yeah, I don't even know how many books that is. I guess I'm gonna have to count it. So quite a few options. Don't know how many I will make it to, but we shall see. I would love to hear if you have any recommendations. Definitely looking for things that are quick, easy, chill. A good audiobook would be great. So feel free to drop those down in the comments. And yeah, if you want to check out my witchy recommendations, feel free to go and check out that video. And then I will also put that Jane Austen experience vlog down there too, if you want to kind of experience fall in Vermont and be a little Austenite with me. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Let's drop a fall leaf if you made it to the end of this vlog. And if you feel like sticking around for more bookish nerd content, feel free to subscribe. I upload every Friday, and hopefully won't have too much delay with that as things kind of change here. And until next time, I hope you read a good book. I hope you find some joy. And most importantly, I hope you do something to make the world a better place. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.